The OnePlus 12, 2 months later. Let's talk about this. Now, I'm going to try to keep this short and quick, but I'm just going to talk about my experience with this device the last 2 months in 7 categories: performance, battery life, biometrics, battery charging speeds, the display, the dual stereo speakers, and the cameras. All right, so let's get started. So, last 2 months, it's been incredible. I love this device. I swear, like, I love this device so much. It's very difficult for me to take the SIM card out of this phone and put it in any other device. Seriously. And I usually have my typical rotation of devices I change up every week. My secondary device. This is my secondary device. My primary device that I use 100% of the time, never take my SIM card out, is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. But this is a secondary. But I love this phone so much, I never want to take the SIM card out of this phone. If I do, it only lasts for maybe a day, maybe 2 days, if that, because I love this phone so much. And I've been really enjoying my experience with this device. I've had zero hiccups, zero problems, zero issues. Everything has been great. All right, so first, let's talk about the performance. The performance has been fantastic. The phone is super fast, super quick, very fluent. Everything opens up super fast. Like, I'm telling you, no issues when it comes to performance with this device. I love the way it goes in and out of apps just so smoothly. This thing, performance wise, this phone is absolutely awesome. It's right up there when it comes to performance with my Mi 11 Ultra, my Vivo X Note. Now, the Samsung is smooth too, but it's not as smooth as this phone. Now, performance on both are great, like I said before, but when it comes to just this thing, it's hard to explain unless you have this device. Then you'll understand what I mean by the performance. It's super fast and it's super silky smooth, and I love that. And it's very, very responsive. Like, excuse me, there's no touching the buttons or the apps 2 and 3 times. Like, I touch it one time, it responds. It's very, very responsive, and I love that. All right, so let's talk about battery life. Now, this has a 5,400 milliamp hour battery, and for me, consistently, I'm getting 2 days and over 8.5 hours of screen on time. Now, let me show you something real quick. Now, you see how much battery I got left there? 15%, right? That ain't no big deal. I'm not worried about this phone running out of juice before my day ends. I'm not worried. But let me just show you the battery life. See that right there? A day and 9 hours and 18 minutes. Look at the screen on time. 8 hours and 15 minutes. And I still got 15% left. You're not getting this kind of battery life on no Samsung device. I mean, now, if you're getting that, okay, then maybe I'm wrong. If you're getting that kind of battery life on a Samsung device, then kudos to you. Maybe you're using a whole lot of battery tips and tricks and all that. You got the display down to 50%. You're not using Quad HD. You're not using 120 hertz. But this thing, look, I know I'm going to get a day and 12 hours. That's 2 days for me. It doesn't literally have to say 2 days, but I've actually had it say 2 full days plus almost 9 hours of screen on time. So the battery life on this device has been incredible, fantastic, great. Okay. No issues. Now, for me, that's the always on display on. That's 120 hertz, Quad HD, and 100% brightness. Okay. So every time they tell me, like, if I go into something, oh, this is going to produce high battery usage, I completely ignore it because I'm not worried about the battery with this. So if you're going to, when they say high battery usage and you don't use it, maybe you could get 3 days. Everybody uses their phone differently. Now, for me, For the most part, I'm watching videos, I'm surfing the net, I'm listening to music. That's what I do. I'm reading my Bible. That's what I do primarily on this device. I'm getting a bunch of notifications. That's what I use this phone for the most part. Okay. And the battery life is fantastic. I don't have to baby this phone. I don't have to turn anything down. I use it at its full potential. I'm completely maxing it out. The only thing I'm not using, I would say, is high performance because you don't need to. This thing performs great without using a high performance mode. I don't need it. Honestly, it works. I'm completely satisfied with the speed and the performance of this device. I don't need to use high performance. But even in the battery life on this phone has been fantastic. Next, let's talk about biometrics. Now, y'all already know OnePlus makes some of the best biometrics in the game. Seriously. Okay. Samsung can't compete with OnePlus when it comes to biometrics. It just can't. Okay. Face unlock is decent, on my S23, and fingerprint sensor is okay, but it's not at the level of the OnePlus 12. It's just not. With look at this face unlock, and I'm behind the camera. This thing is just ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. Then this fingerprint sensor never lets me down. Very fast, haptic feedback. You could change the animations. I mean, it's automatic. It's like the biometrics are perfect on this device. You're not gonna have any issue with biometrics. It's been great for me. Next, let's talk about the battery charging speeds. Now, I know for some of y'all don't care, when it comes to battery charging speed because y'all keep making excuses for Samsung not, making their phones charge a lot faster. Oh, it's going to degrade, it's going to get battery degradation and the battery's not going to last as long. That's nonsense. Okay. I got phones that are 3, 4 years old. I'm still getting great battery life. And I always use those, charge those phones at their high wattage, 67 watts, 80 watts. And I'm still getting great battery life. So that's caps on that battery degradation crap. Now, maybe it would be battery degradation on a Samsung device because they just don't seem to ever really care about battery life. It seems like they're one of the only companies that really can improve when it comes to battery life. Now, the battery life, I'm not going to lie, it's better on the S23 Ultra compared to the Note 20 Ultra. It's like night and day, honestly. It's just way better. But still, they're not even in the ballpark when it comes to these other devices when it comes to battery charging speeds. They're not even close. 45-watt charging on a 2024 device is a joke. This is 100-watt charging, 28 minutes. Okay? Y'all don't know how cool it is when you get up, say you get up in the morning, because I don't even charge this phone overnight. I don't need to, because that's how fast it charges. Plus, I'm charging this phone every 2 days, so I'm only charging this phone 3 times a week, as opposed to my S23 Ultra, which I gotta charge every day. That's how beastly this battery is, and the battery charging speed. So back to the battery charging speed. I'm sorry. So 100-watt wired charging, 28 minutes. Okay. So I'm never ever worrying about charging my phone in a hurry if I need to. I only charge in the morning before I go to work, stick it on the charger. If I want to use the wire, I could just stick it on the charger. And I know before I leave, to go to work, I always get up maybe an hour and a half before I have to go to work. So it's more than enough time to charge this in the morning. Also, with the wireless charging, 50 watts, I can charge this phone in 44 minutes. Just slide it right down on the wireless charger. Boom, I'm good to go. And that's what I use probably 99% of the time is the wireless charging stand, because I don't have to plug it up. All I got to do, slide it right down on the thing. And then when I'm ready to go, just take it off. I don't have to unplug anything. Just take it off and keep it moving. And you don't know how convenient that is when you're in a pinch, because what happened yesterday, me and my wife, had decided to go out. And for some reason, I meant to charge this on Saturday morning when I got up, but I just got a little absent-minded and I forgot. So it was like a half an hour before we was getting ready to leave. And I looked over and I picked up the phone, get ready to put it in my pocket, and it said 5%. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to charge this phone. So what I did, I had 30 minutes. So because I wanted to take pictures, where we were going. So I took it, put it on the wireless charger. I didn't even use the wired charging because I didn't need it. I knew whatever if I had a half an hour, either wired or wireless, I was gonna have plenty of time to get this where I was gonna be good. So I slapped it on there with 5%, had 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, you know how much charge I had on this device? 67%. From 5% to 67% in 30 minutes on the wireless charger. So you don't know how that comes in handy when you really need it in a pinch. So having a phone that charges faster, it matters. Now, some of y'all just don't care one way or the other, but there's a lot of you out there that probably do care, especially like I said, if you find yourself in a pinch. It really comes in handy when you need it to. So battery charging speeds are pretty great on this device, and I absolutely love it. It matters to me. I know some of you, like I said, don't care, but I care. Next, let's talk about this beautiful Quad HD display, 120 hertz, 1600 nits sustained brightness. I love the brightness on this device. It gets so bright and beautiful. Oh, I love it. I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. And, for me, I'm all about AMOLED. I don't mess with IP. Was it LCD? I don't mess with LCD displays. I don't mess with them. Give me AMOLED. Give me Quad HD. You got the 120 hertz with it. It keeps everything nice and smooth. Everything runs really great when you're scrolling. Your scrolling speeds are great. If you're on Facebook and you need to scroll really, really fast, it's going to be really fast and really smooth. Now, it seemed like it's getting a little crazy now, but usually, like I said, everything is usually smooth. I usually don't scroll super fast like that, but you can, but it's just nice and smooth. It's just nice and smooth, and I love it. No issues with the display. The display is one of my favorite things about this phone. About this phone is the display. It's beautiful. Next, the dual stereo speakers. Now, like I said before, they sound slightly different than Samsung. The way they tuned the speakers, this one and that. This one has more of a stereo sound to it and a little bit heavier on the bass, which I really like. The dual stereo speakers on this device are great. I love it. It sounds so good. Even when I'm, have headphones in there and I'm listening through the USB Type-C port, sound great. So the dual stereo speakers also are great on this device, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And last but certainly not least, the cameras. Now, of course, I already did, full review. I just did a recent video where I did show camera samples with this device against, I believe, the S23 Ultra. So there's plenty of footage of the cameras, and I really love these cameras. They shoot excellent. I mean, the quality is great. Now, the only thing that these cameras struggle with, say if I'm zooming into something 30 times, it's still a great photo, but it lacks the, detail. Doesn't have as much detail once you zoom in, a lot closer. Now, 10 times zoom is great, but once you get to 30 times zoom, you lose a little detail, just a little bit. I just noticed the difference between that and the S23 Ultra when I took the same picture and both at 30 times, and the Samsung, kept more detail in the photo. But that's not a real big deal because the photos still look great. It just lacked a little bit of detail, and that's it. So when it comes to the video footage, it's beautiful. So I have no issues with this camera, honestly. Now, I did say the S23 Ultra is a little better, and I like it a little better, which is true. But that don't take away from the greatness of these cameras, because they are great, and I love them. I absolutely love them. And, that's subjective because everybody's going to feel different. For those people that are just, everything Samsung can't do no wrong. Everything is perfect with Samsung. They the best. It's not going to matter what these cameras look like. to those type of people. But for people that are actually subjective and, they really look at the difference between the two, and some people actually like the photo qualities of this better than S23 Ultra. It depends on the person, and it depends on your eyes and what you see and what looks good and appealing to you. We all see things different. That's why there's so many content creators, because we all have different opinions when it comes to these smartphones. So just because somebody don't agree with how you feel doesn't mean their opinion is wrong. No, a person's opinion is their opinion. Their experience is their experience. So I don't know why people got to hate on another person because they don't, or give them a thumbs down because you don't agree with what they said. That's their opinion. That's their experience. But it don't bother me. It is what it is. I love this device. My first 2 months has been phenomenal. I love it. I just don't want to put this phone down. And the battery life, man, you talking about just 2 days of not even sweating battery life. Even when it gets to 15%, you still ain't sweating it because the thing is still going to sit battery. I mean, you really got to use this thing extremely hard to try to kill this battery. You see, I got well over 8 hours of screen on time within 2 days. I ain't sniffing that on my S23 Ultra. I ain't sniffing it at all. So my first 2 months have been phenomenal, and I'm almost sure the rest of my time with this device is going to be great, because this might be one of the best devices on the market. I know it is. I really believe that. Now, I don't get everything that comes out. I just don't, because I don't want everything that comes out. And my channel's not big enough yet where I can afford to just go out and just get a whole bunch of different devices. So one day I'm still growing, and I thank each and every one of you out there for subscribing to my channel and supporting me. I do appreciate you very, very much. So thank you all very much for taking the time to view this content. I do appreciate it. I hope everybody out there is staying safe, staying well, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.